Hey y'all, it's Diamond here with another episode of the Creative Women Wanted podcast. This podcast is for the Black women working behind the scenes to bring to life our favorite television shows, both scripted and unscripted. It's a community, it's a safe space for us to talk about our stories, journeys, what we're watching, reading, and what we are learning. And today's guest, Tori Carter. She is an accomplished social media marketer and creative storyteller, and she is the senior team lead of brand social at Hulu. She uses her skill set to lead creative campaigns on social in support of Hulu's original content while finding new, innovative ways to engage Hulu's diverse streamers. In addition, Tori empowers everyone around her to use their innate creativity to not only best represent the corporate brand, but to challenge themselves to think bigger and find their professional spark. And I am delighted about our conversation today. Tori just moved to California, so we get to talk about that. We talk about her first job at BET. She's impacted various brands with her attention to detail and the extreme level of grace she brings to each new project she touches. She's worked on campaigns for BET, Paramount, Bravo, Sci-Fi, and more. From dominating social with 30 million views in one night with her creative vision for social for the 2020 BET Awards, to igniting the Bravo-holics ahead of the launch of season 6 of The Housewives of Potomac, her passion for marketing both entertains and empowers an audience to move, and has managed to bring each company she touches a series of consistent wins. She's creative, she's brilliant, she's a Leo, she's a winner, and I'm really excited for her to tell her story and for you to hear her story on today's episode of Creative Women Wanted. This is Tori Carter. Tori, I'm excited to talk to you today. So you moved to Cali too. Like, what brought you out here?
So my job, always knew I wanted to move out here, just waiting on the right opportunities. So Hulu, they got me. LA got me because of Hulu.
I love it. So when you got out of college, because you do, I've already explained to the folks what you do. When you got out of college, what did you want to do?
So when I got out of college, I really thought I was going in that public relations PR track. I thought I was going to be somebody's publicist on behalf of a sports team, or even just working somewhere within entertainment. I had no idea that I would be in social, and still in the social to this day, but that's what I majored in, public relations. So I really thought that was the track I was going in, and that just did not happen.
So what was your first TV marketing role? And is there a difference really between like television marketing and television social, or are they like one in the same?
So my first television marketing role, social marketing specifically, was at BET. So I worked specifically for the linear social team, and linear essentially just means what you watch on the TV. Okay. So I was responsible for promoting a series of shows that includes the award shows like BET Awards, and even some of the smaller shows that you may or may not have heard of. So yeah, that was really like the first job. And in terms of just like the difference between like TV marketing and social media marketing, every aspect of social media marketing, depending on what industry you work on, has its own nuances. Of course, when it comes to TV, we work very closely with all the rest of the traditional marketing departments. So 360 marketing, PR, paid media, all of that. So it all is integrated in a way that I wouldn't say there's much of a difference, but we just all rely on each other for different things.
Okay, that's good to know, because I feel like sometimes I use the words interchangeably.
Absolutely.
And so that's helpful. Do you remember your approach back in the day to marketing at that time, to social marketing?
Absolutely. So I think it was still at that time social, and even now it sometimes happened, but at that time I don't think people fully understood like the access to the audience that you have through social media. I think because everyone has social on their phones, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, everyone thought that they knew how to just market by posting or things like that. And there's definitely a lot more strategy that goes behind it than people realize. So early on in the days of social marketing, it was definitely using a lot of pictures from the show that we had access to, or if we were able to capture them at an award show or on set, we would use that type of content to really just spread awareness of the show. I think it has definitely evolved now because we are able to, really request days to shoot social specific content, and we can really get creative in terms of the content that we want to get and how we want to use that to market the show.
Oh, I love that. And I can definitely see the evolution. I feel like nowadays there's like entire shows.
Yeah.
People have shows that market their shows at this point. So what was your day-to-day like then? And I want to clarify for the audience what year this was so we can
for sure
keep them on the timeline.
2016. This was 2016. So definitely some evolution in between that. So what my day-to-day looked like, I would say it definitely involved a lot of really just like looking at content calendars, whatever tool I was using at the time to schedule. I believe we used a tool called Spreadfest at that time. And essentially just figuring out like if I knew I had a show that premiered October 15th, what was my plan leading up to that? Coming up with my respective strategy that I would later present to the executive producers of the show, the higher ups at BET, really just figuring out like what that robust plan looked like. And that I can say is pretty consistent. I still do the same thing now. So yeah.
Were you taking care of your mind and like your mental health back then? Because I feel like even 6 years ago, I was like work. I had no work-life balance. I was working myself sick essentially.
Absolutely. I don't think that I really had a formal like mental health self-care plan. I was like fresh out of college. So I think I had like a lot of just hunger and excitement. I was happy to just have a job, knowing that a lot of my peers didn't have one when we graduated.
That's
and
real.
The cool part for me was like I interned at BET, so I just kind of transitioned fully into being a full-time employee. So I was pretty familiar with the work that I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, I had no self-care plan at that point. It was a mix of like working and then just being outside.
Well, you worked at BET for a good amount of time. You really like rose the ranks there. Will you talk about one or two of your favorite projects at that time and what you did?
Absolutely. So I think my like personal favorite project that I worked on from BET was the BET Awards in 2020. Of course, we all know what 2020 was as a year, but that was a really challenging BET Awards to market. As everyone is familiar, BET Awards is typically at the end of June. And when you think back to June 2020, you think about everything that was going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd. COVID was actively and running the streets at that time. And it was just a lot going on in the news cycle, which made it very hard for us to market because, of course, we didn't want to appear to be tone deaf. Being a Black network, there's a lot of responsibility that you have to be a voice within this community. And then it was a virtual award show. Nobody had done that at the time. We hadn't even done that. We did something kind of smaller a few months prior to that, but nothing to the scale in which we executed for BET Awards. So I think there was a lot of just social chatter about a virtual award show. What is that going to look like? We don't want to watch the BET Awards over Zoom. And it was nothing like that. So it really left us with 2 weeks to market. Another thing to note with this show, it was the 20th anniversary of BET Awards. It was the 40th anniversary of BET. What? So on top of
it carried a lot of weight.
It carried a lot of weight. And we really had from about June 15th to June 28th to promote it. And just for context, you usually have about a month and a half to promote that award show. And that includes sharing your hosts, your nominees, your honorees, your performers. We had 2 weeks to do all of that, capture a lot of social content, put together a robust paid media plan. I worked very hard in those 2 weeks. But just to see the reception to the show itself, the social conversation and everything. And, throughout that year, everybody else's award show was always compared to BET Awards because we set the standard with that show.
I was going to say that. I was going to have to say that. I feel like that really rose, that really was the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
Alien Superstar. That was the bar. Okay. You all set the bar for award shows. And to this day, I think that award shows are still compared to that.
Yep. And just being like, it was historic for a number of different reasons. And even if you remember the show, like it was the content of it had a mix of like obviously pop culture celebrating Black culture and BT, but it spoke to the social justice fight that was happening and just, it really made you feel that. So yeah, I think that day will live in infamy for me personally, but I also think just like BT and Black culture as well.
Absolutely. I feel like they really, I mean, it just it felt like 20 years. It felt like 40 years. Like it felt like I feel like BET knows how to innovate, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a great example of what it looks like to innovate and what it looks like for Black people to innovate. Cause I feel like we innovate differently. So y'all did that. Did you have another favorite project from your time?
I mean, just like working on different campaigns throughout the years. One thing that I like personally fought for, I love movies. I'm a movie girl. So I fought my hardest to get us access to the Oscar red carpet. So I went 2 years on behalf of BET. I went in 2020. So literally like the last time they really had like an in-person show. And that was just really cool having a presence there. Something that was really cool about being on the 2020 Oscars carpet was that was the year of the movie Parasite. And if you remember, there was just like a lot of conversation, excitement around it. And the director Bong Joon-ho, he was like notorious for always speaking Korean in like all of his interviews. He was like, nope, like you guys will read the subtitles, like really adamant about that. But when he stopped for us on the BT carpet, he actually spoke English with us. So it was the fact that he was stopping for a Black network. He felt comfortable and spoke English with us. Like we got a really, really great clip of him giving props to another Asian American director. And it was just, I was like, wow, we got that. Like it could have been Friday, it could have been Hollywood Reporter, but BET got that moment. So yeah, that was really great for me.
That is really special. And shout out to you for advocating for us on the carpet because the Oscars are very special and it's something that I get excited about. And even though I don't feel like we have, of course, as much representation in the nominees that I would like, it's still nice that you all were there and you all got to capture that content because it's a fun award show. And did you have a good time? Because I'm jealous right now.
Absolutely. And Oscar weekend in LA, like we're both here now. So,
let me know this. Let me know.
We're going.
Yes. It's next year. It'll be next year.
Yeah, it usually is in like February. I know COVID had been like kind of hopscotching it around, but it's typically in February.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, sis, we outside. So how has the evolution of social media and the algorithms affected how you approach your work?
Oh my God, it changes literally every day. Instagram can never. She changes her mood. She goes through mood swings. Everything is different. Things are weighted differently. So social is really about adapting. I think even just like adapting to whatever the conversation is, like I cannot stress enough how much we are always trying to jump in on a trend and like analyze if this makes sense for this respective brand to jump in. What's our tone of voice? What's our approach in this? And sometimes with those social trends, you just got to jump in. You can't like wait for 10 people to approve it. You just got to jump in and maybe get your hand slapped later. So that's one aspect. On the algorithm side, it really just helps us to pivot like what type of content our audience on our platforms is even like responding to and engaging with the most. And then like Instagram is, I use them because I feel like they change a lot and like they prioritize content differently all the time. So it makes us have to think about like when I'm coming up with my social plan for what the Kardashians, I have to figure out like, is video content going to be better versus like static, like photo content? So always just keeping those things in mind. So that way, we're reaching as many people as possible.
Copy that. So let's talk about Hulu. So currently you're in brand social at Hulu. Can you talk a little bit about how you got the job and Can you talk about how you got the job and was that on your vision board?
So loosely, I'll start with the second question first. So it was loosely on my vision board. I knew that I really wanted to work within streaming at one point. I didn't know where. I had my vision set on another streamer and that didn't really work out a few times. And like, I'm very happy that it didn't work out. Just on some recent press with that streamer. But yeah, I knew that I wanted to work in streaming eventually. I kind of touched a little bit at BET when we launched BET Plus. So I was familiar with it, but it's still like, I'm learning something new every day at Hulu. So yeah, so it was definitely something I wanted to do. And candidly, an old boss of mine who I consider like a mentor, a girl boss, an inspiration in my head, Tatiana Holyfield Arthur. She's like VP of social now at Sirius and Pandora, so doing big
Look at
things
her.
always. But she had an opening on her team, and just, being one dope black woman to another black woman, she was like, "You want to come join my team?" And I went through the formal interview process. I met with people on her team, some other people that I would be working with, and yeah, it all worked out. And now I'm at Hulu.
Look at you. Okay, so what's your day to day like now? And can you talk about some of the shows that you have promoted and maybe some shows that you can talk about that are coming out?
Absolutely. So, my day to day is pretty similar to what I did at BET in terms of like really just figuring out what my strategy is going to be for each show, and then like activating on like making that strategy happen. So, whether that's like coming up with a series of assets that like our main agency will create, whether that's identifying different creators or production companies that I want to work with to create content, and yeah, and then another added aspect of my job at Hulu is that I also oversee some other verticals that are a bit newer for me too. So that is like sports content, that is like we have a live add-on on Hulu where you can watch like NFL games, NBA games, things like that. So how do we promote that on the Hulu socials? We have partner content. So thinking about like Stars, HBO Max, like these are all add-ons that you can get onto Hulu. So how do we promote that on our handles? So that is definitely like the bread and butter of it. Some projects that I've already worked on so far. So Machine Gun Kelly had a documentary that came out
Yeah.
in June. That was a really fun project to work on. Life in Pink, go stream it. Working on Kardashians this season, a little bit on the previous season. That previous season launched as I was starting, so really getting to work on that now. Yeah, and then some cooler projects. So working closely with our Onyx Collective team on their
Yeah.
titles. So we have the Reasonable Doubt show coming out. Really,
Can't
really
wait for
excited
that.
that. Yeah, y'all got to tap in because it's good. And then some other titles that they have. And then we have a Rap Caviar show that's coming to Hulu in partnership with Spotify.
Yes.
So very, very excited to be working on, cultural things like that too.
Are you working on Handmaid's Tale? Because I'm obsessed.
I am personally not working on it, but I can promise you the team that is working on it, they got some good stuff coming.
They are working. I mean, first
Yeah.
of all, you are working too. I'm very excited about what you all are doing at Hulu. I mean, I actually love Hulu. I mean, HBO Max, Hulu, like those, and
Yeah.
Apple TV is like a new favorite of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited about the original content. I'm very excited about Reasonable Doubt. Like I saw the trailer and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, juicy, okay.
Right.
Also, I love seeing Michael Ealy.
Yeah. Always. Always. Yes.
So, did you ever have a moment, or do you have moments where working in social can feel like too much? Because I feel like, as somebody who just uses social, it's too much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. From the like external reason and the internal reason. So like the external reason, it's just the volume, right? It's just like it's a lot of conversation going on all the time. Like being on the brand social side is like another added responsibility, because like if there's a pop culture moment that's happening, you don't want to miss it. You want to join in on that. Um, this is gonna sound morbid, but like when people pass away, that's also really, because you have to jump into like, how are we reporting this versus like, oh, I'm sad that like DMX passed away, right?
Right.
Um, so that's one aspect. I would say another like internal aspect is like social still like the young kid on the block. Like in terms of just traditional media and marketing, like I think people still don't understand like all that goes into social media marketing. So sometimes you deal with like a level of blind spots internally where, you know, the media team may not have as much money, or the marketing team doesn't have as much money, but because social is free, they come to you like, how can you save marketing the show? And it's like, no, I can't. Like, I can
Period.
post 20 times, but that doesn't mean that like that's gonna get the ratings that we needed to see. Like that science doesn't necessarily always translate, right? So it just is it dealing with like managing expectations, always like hey, I know that you think that we should be posting about this 42 times, but no. Hey, I know you want me to reach out to this influencer to work on this campaign, but like they are gonna cost. Like, so really just
Right.
like it's a interesting job. I don't know if you saw the trend this past week of like all the brands just posting one word.
Yes, I saw that.
And someone was like, what is happening? I'm like, social media managers, we're losing it. Like that's all we have left to give. We don't have the capacity for anything else.
Who started that? That was it CNN? Because I feel like I saw CNN's first.
So weirdly, the first one that I saw was Variety.
Oh.
And then I think, like I said, everyone was like, all right, we're here. Do it.
I love those. I think those are like, I think this, it's so funny, like just seeing brands tweet. It's just, and then I love that when people have fun with it.
Right, right.
So outside of work, you freelance.
Yes.
Why is that? Because I feel like that's, I know we've talked and that's something that's very important to you. What type of projects do you like to work on, and why do you freelance outside of your job?
Absolutely. I freelance for just, to me, is the biggest reason is like another creative outlet, right? Like I feel like I've always been someone that's been involved in like more things than like one thing at a time. And maybe I need to work on that. But
No, maybe do you know your human design? I just have to interrupt this real quick.
no.
It's like, I would look into human design because my human design is a manifesting generator. And as a manifesting generator, I'm multi-passionate. So I've accepted that about myself and I honor that. And I don't try to work on it. I'm just like, this is me. So anyway, I just had to tell you that. I think you might.
No, now you got me about to go to Google and be like, what is my human design?
Oh, it's good. And it's the same thing you put in like your birth year and things like that. So anyway, okay, sorry. Okay.
But I've always been a person that has like either worked two jobs at once or whatever, just for the sake of like doing it. And while I was at BT, I got promoted to a producer at one point in my career there, and I produced a lot of video content. And essentially, our like main KPI there was views. And at some jobs that I've had after that, and now at Hulu, it's more of an engagement play is like our main KPI and metric to hit. So, you're not producing as much video content. And I really have wanted to work on other projects outside of like what I do. At one point in time, I had a strong passion for like writing. And that afforded me to connect with a lot of other filmmakers and just other really cool creatives and like help them work on their projects. So, and from typically like that producer realm. So what freelancing looks like for me is like producing content, and it's not always about like money for me. It really is just like finding community, connecting with them, working on their projects, learning how to produce outside of the way I'm used to producing. I'm used to producing like social content, like producing a music video is completely different versus like producing a web series or a short film. Like, so I really want to keep learning at that. And it's just another way to feed like the creativity in me.
I love that, because that was my next question. How do you stay creative? So freelancing, is there any other ways in which you stay creative?
Absolutely. So the biggest is like just freelancing and working on other people's projects. Weirdly enough, I feel like watching movies has always been like a creative outlet for me. I think it gives me like, it helps me to fall deeper into like just like film and production. I think like I really want to learn how to score a film one day, and like
Okay.
listening to music helps me be creative because I'll like listen to a song and see the whole scene in my head. Not necessarily like a music video, but like what scene would I pair this with? So that's like just something really funky that I like to do. But yeah, I think now is I'm in the journey of like figuring out what things I like to do that are just like releases for me. But yeah.
That's good. No, that's really important. So when I look at your tweets and your stories, I'm like, this girl is having fun. I feel like you have a good time in life. Like, is having fun important to you? Is it something you
Oh,
prioritize?
absolutely. Like I've always been a person. I'm a people person, and like my people are my everything, right? And like I love to just be around my friends, and like yeah, right now, especially in my 20s, like it is very much like we outside, but
Yeah.
like let's go to this paint sip, let's go do that. Like it really is the perfect outlet for me. I do think like early on in my career, I've always had a good balance of work and play, but like the work used to be like very top heavy, and like I need my time to enjoy myself and to have fun. And like I also need my moments to reset and just be by myself. That's what this weekend I'm dedicating to, just like being by myself, enjoying myself and having a good time by myself, right? But yeah, fun is important because life is short. So why not?
Life is short. Like I feel like it was in my late 20s where I realized, okay, girl, you need to have some more fun. Because I feel like I was having fun in college, and then after college to like for maybe 22 to 28, I was like work, 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 work,
Yeah,
work. And I'm thankful for like a life that allows me to like do everything that I want to do, really, and
absolutely.
including having lots of fun. So, do you have a vision for yourself when you think about the next few years? Like, what is your vision for yourself?
I really like I don't wear this like youngest in charge badge of honor lightly. I really like the fact that like I'm sometimes one of the youngest voices in the room because I feel like I carry my generation on my back. So I'm like, no,
Period.
I
Yeah.
gotta represent for millennials and everybody under me. So just being like that voice in these rooms. I also obviously at BET it's like a black network. Everybody that I'm working with is black. Like we're marketing black content. But now like going to Bravo and Sci-Fi and then going to Hulu, it's like it's diverse. It's things we have to focus on. So like I really want to just continue to lead as like a young black woman creator in these spaces that like knows the strategy side of it, but also the creative side. I really want to be able to speak to multiple audiences at once and like make content that represents underrepresented audiences. I think representation is key in everything that I do. And I really want to bring that to everything that I touch. And whether that is me creating my own agency one day, whether that is me being a CMO of marketing, like I don't want to lose that in any position that I'm in.
Oh, I love that. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see, just continue to see your journey. So
Absolutely.
now it's time for the soundbite round. So it's quick. It's like, it's quick.
Okay.
So all right. What are you watching?
I just finished Rap Shit.
Yes. How you like it? How you like it?
It's cool. It was like a slow build for me, but I like it now. I'm very much Mia Hive, like love her. Can't speak too much on Shauna, but
You
yeah.
give me more energy. Mia just has a big energy. And I
Yes.
feel like as a Leo,
Right, right,
it's big energy.
right.
What's your favorite account to follow on social? And actually, favorite account to follow on Twitter, and then favorite account to follow on Instagram.
Oh my God. And it can be like any account, right?
Any account. And why? You got to tell us why.
Okay, so two on Twitter. This guy, his name is Carrie, Kary, and he just is so fun. Like he's just like always hip to whatever. And the timeline is talking about pop culture. He makes multiple memes. He like laughs at all of his tweets, which is really, really funny to me. And then there's this account, her name is Traymar, but her like Twitter name is not Traymar. She is incredibly problematic in a sense of like she just has a lot of like hot takes all the time, but like I just think she's so funny. And like she has remained the same always. Like her tweets are very consistent. Like she's gonna drag everybody. Yeah. But then like when she's wrong, she knows she's wrong and will eat it. And it just is very funny. So
I love that. I love just somebody that can just have fun with themselves.
exactly.
Okay, what's your favorite thing about Cali so far?
Um Probably the water. And I was never really like a water girl before I came out here. But now let's go to the pool. Let's go to the beach. Let's be by some water. Like, I don't know why, but it's like I feel recharged when I'm by water now. So
Absolutely. I feel like I just sent my family a picture yesterday because me and my partner got beach chairs. So I'm
oh,
like,
cute.
now we're officially Californians. If you have a beach chair, if you own beach chairs, I feel like you officially like a Californian.
Let me add that to my list.
Girl, target. All right. So what's your favorite reality TV show ever and why?
And we talked about this
We
before.
did. So I'm excited for you to
Right.
say.
Married to Medicine is probably my top reality show. You know, we got the Flavor of Loves, Charm Schools, things like that. Those are all in the ranks, but like
Yeah.
Married to Medicine, hands down. Why? I like the fact that these women like have regular lives to me. Like they live their life on the show the same way they would off the show. It feels very relatable. I like the husbands on the show for the most part, not Contessa's husband. But I like
a lot about him.
Right, a lot. I like the husbands on the show. I like that like their confessionals are with the wives, so they're very ingrained. The husbands have their own like friend group, and like you can root for them. I like the fact that these women, like, to me, they all love each other. They're gonna argue down, they're gonna drag each other, but like Heavenly and Contessa being mad, and then Contessa turning around and praying for Heavenly's mom in the middle of an argument, like that's powerful to me. And it just it feels like my friend groups a lot. And I love it. So I love Married to Medicine a lot.
Yeah, I tried to check it out, and I just have to keep going. I have so many seasons to watch. That's the thing.
Yes.
But what is your secret YouTube obsession?
Oh my God. What is my secret YouTube obsession? Well,
or do you have one? Maybe you don't have one.
It's turning into like secret TikTok obsession.
Oh, okay. What is it?
So there's this band of these guys on TikTok. I can't think of their account name, but they have this series called Can It Kirkland, where essentially they compare like name brand liquor to like the Kirkland brand. And like I look forward to those videos every time because it just is very funny. Like they're very like dramatic in the video too, which is super funny. But no, I love that series, and I like had to follow the group on TikTok. Like, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check them out. But thank you so much for joining me. You've given so much wisdom and so much perspective on your work, and you've just spoken so honestly and transparently, and I really appreciate that.
Awesome. No, thank you for having me. I love this space. You know, we gonna be outside and working together too. So can't wait.
I'm believing it. And I'm really gonna hit you up because I want to see if maybe we can watch one of these housewife reunions together.
Yes.
Well, Potomac is coming out, maybe we could just do a little something. Okay, I'm gonna hit you up. But okay, well, thank you so much, Tori.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. I really enjoyed that conversation with Tori. I mean, you can tell she loves